so excited today to interview Michelle Mackenzie. As you guys can see, she actually won $20,000 tickets to the Grant Cardone's conference in Vegas, and is going to be on Play to Win. Like, oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about there. But what I want to do is really spend some time, Michelle, just kind of getting a little bit of your background. I think that you and I, we come from similar backgrounds, both corporate America, both make a significant or, just living wage, right? Like we're comfortable in our living. So just really interested in like learning from you, just a little bit about your background and how you got involved in what you're doing today and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to turn it over real quick, and maybe you can tell me a little bit about your background.
Yeah, sure. So I have a good job. I'm a patent attorney, and I trained in the UK, and I moved out to Canada 6 years ago. And we've done very well. We were pretty comfortable, but I will say we ended up building our own house, and we were quite naive about how much it was going to cost. And basically we at that time, things were a squeeze. And the thing is about it, and it's kind of embarrassing to share in some ways, that we were earning really good money, but at the same time we were spending too much money. We were not really truly living within our means. We were fine, but that's the thing, like you can almost end up in that trap that when you earn good money and you get very good credit offerings, then you make use of those credit offerings, and you buy things that maybe with hindsight were not such sensible financial decisions. And then building the house and having that little bit of a squeeze there, like we were fine. It was just going to take us a very, very long time to pay off, credit cards and things that we had racked up. And so when I was first approached about the business, I was already a customer. I already loved the product, and initially I was like, oh no, that's not for me. Like that's not really, I couldn't do that. I wouldn't, no, that's not for me. And then, time goes on, and I actually was getting quite stressed about money, because I think the thing is, when you build a house, you're on the hook. Like, you've paid your deposit down, but your house doesn't finish for like another year. And I was starting to think, oh gosh, if I lost my job in the next year, I work in high tech. It's like, it is it's not exactly a stable area. And so I started to get quite stressed about it. And I sort of started to think really what was holding me back from giving this a go, like to actually earn an extra income. And it boiled down to that. I thought, oh, like, I don't want to bother my friends and family, and I don't think that's for me. But then when I thought about it, so the girl had asked me quite a few times, but not like, she wasn't certainly not harassing me. She's a very good friend. And she just mentioned it every now and again, like, oh, you could do this, whatever. And I kind of was like, no, it's not for me. And then eventually I thought, if the thing that bothered me was, I thought that I would be bugging people. And I thought, but hang on, she doesn't bug me. And also, like, I don't find her stuff annoying. So if that was what I thought I was going to be perceived as, I thought, well, that's a bit wrong. Like, it totally doesn't have to be that way. And so then I jumped in, and it's just been fantastic. Like, it's more than just the money. I have never done any personal development before, and now it's really, really helped me. I mean, I had a very, very hard year last year when I lost my brother. And, I think the support and the personal development that I did through that, it actually just really gave me something to focus on. And so that's been awesome.
So that's great information, and thanks. And I kind of want to chunk this out a little bit and break down some of the things that you said, because they really caught my attention. Okay. One of them is you like, I had a comfortable income, even though we were buying and things like that. You know, I think a lot of people don't ever think about, you know, the potential of maybe what if that income wasn't there, or what if
Mm.
we needed to make more of an income, right? It's like we get very comfortable in our jobs. I could tell you, I was one of those, right? And we see that the economy is changing a little, I think, and you see that people are really like, you know, they're Uber driving, they're looking at network marketing opportunities. They're really trying to figure out what can we do differently, because, you know, it's this concept of, you know, I have a 9-to-5 job, and it used to be where you'd work for the same job for 40 years and then you'd retire and you'd have a pension, right? And that just doesn't exist anymore. So what kind of took you from, you know, this concept of because I think you're married, have kids. I hear a
Yeah.
lot like I don't have time, or I'm busy, or I have a full-time job. What kind of wrap our heads around what you were thinking, going from I'm a full-time patent attorney, I make 6 figures now, I support my family, I have 2 kids and a husband. How do I make time for this extra thing?
Yeah, I don't even know if when I really like got started, if I thought that much about how much time, um, you know, time. I thought I always have time, like because I can always make time. I can always find time. You find time to do the things that are important to you, and so I wasn't so worried that I wouldn't find time. I just didn't know really how much how little time it would actually take. Like I think there's a perception that it has to take an awful lot of time, and I don't think that's true. Like I do some work in the morning before my kids are awake and before I go to work, and then I do an hour in the evening. It's, you know, I could be watching TV or whatever, but it's so I don't feel like I'm missing out. I feel like I'm getting so much out of it, so much out of it, that I don't, that it doesn't seem like that I'm really sacrificing time. I feel like it's a really good use of my time.
I love it, because I feel the same way. Like, you know, I think about all the things I used to spend time doing, and it was just kind of wasted. It's not, you know, I used to say I don't have time, and what
Mm.
I realized is I just wasn't like organizing my time in a sense. It was a lot of wasted scrolling on Facebook, or I didn't even know where my
Yeah.
time actually went.
I know. And the
Like,
thing
what
is,
did I do today?
I think you and I are the same in the sense that we have really big goals. And so that's different. Like when I really did first start, I thought, you know, if I just cover the cost of my products, that will be great. And so, you know, if that would have been like 15 minutes every day, half an hour a day, you know, what would that have been? But I think I don't know about you, but I caught a vision quite early on as to what was possible, and I thought, okay, like I'm interested in that. And then as I've gone on and I've met people and I see what it's about, like really I love helping people, and I love that feeling when I get a lovely message back saying how, you know, how they're so happy, their life has changed, and whether that's like because they've met a health goal or whether that's because you know, they're earning an extra income, it doesn't really matter. It's just that like I like that makes me feel really good to be able to do that. And so, you know, I know that we both follow Ray Higdon, and a big thing for him is to make an impact. And that's like, that is such a big driver for me now. That's the reason why I go for the things like the Grant Cardone tickets, and why I went for the play to win experiences, that I know that I am going to make an impact on many, many, many lives. And I just think these experiences will just get me there that bit quicker. So why
I
not?
love
Why not go for it?
Yeah, you know, that was, now that you're mentioning, that was one of the things that was surprising for me when I first got involved, in, this is my second company, but when I first got involved, I really just wanted, I was in love with the product. I wanted to get it for like free or cheap, you know what I mean? And I thought, and you can make a little money, fun money, you know, money I can spend on coffee every day if I wanted to, that wasn't like impacting anything else I did. And then to your point, I caught it very quickly, like, oh, there's more opportunity in this business. And my initial desires, I guess, really were around like, how do I grow a business? How do I make money, right?
Mhm.
What has been surprising to me over time, though, has been how much I've enjoyed like building a tribe, having a different kind of friendships, and connecting with women with similar goals, and positive kind of mindsets, and are driven, and all these other things, right? I was really surprised by this other aspect of like just personal development and impact and all that kind of stuff. What surprised you about, like, what did you learn about yourself since how long have you been in network marketing?
Um, about 18 months, but I would probably say seriously, uh, mm, about a year. Probably when I went to my first conference, that was when I really, that was like last January. Yeah, so about a year,
That's
seriously.
amazing. And so you, in 1 year, you managed to get where you are. That's a hands down applause.
Well, I know, but I've also changed company as well in that time as well. So, that's, yeah,
All
it
right, we'll talk
happens.
about two things. The first thing is what surprised you, and then I definitely am going to ask you the second question around. I think a lot of people think, you get into a business, that's it. You're stuck till you're dead, basically. You can't switch, you can't make decisions. Um, and I think I've even felt that way at first, but you learn that there are other opportunities, and you can go with where the right fit is, right? It's like a job.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
let's start with like what surprised you, or what have you learned about yourself since getting involved in this? Like, what was the growth opportunity there?
Um, I think I think honestly, like how good it feels to be of service to other people and to just want to put out that, I don't know, like love and positivity out into the world, because I just feel that it is so well reflected to me, and I just love it. I just love that. I love that that feeling of helping people, and just feeling that energy come back, because you sort of touched on it earlier on about the tribe and the connections and things, and I just think in today's world we are, I don't know, like, so even social media, I love it and I hate it in some ways, because there is that perception that everyone, is, it's their highlight reel. People just put on the happy stuff, and I just think that there's, when we do that, it sort of separates us, because we're not really getting to the core of like what's important to us, or what are we struggling with. And then I remember just being as a new mum, looking around at everyone and thinking that they had their shit together, and why did I not? And I felt like I was failing. And it's only now when I am more vulnerable with people and I open up to more people about some of my struggles at that time, that I think actually we were all struggling. We were just only putting on the, hey, look, my baby smiled today, and that's all you see. And so I just think that connecting with people in this way allows us to just be more real. And then, because you have to be real to attract your tribe, it can't be all like, oh, well, I'm perfect and look at me, because duh, like nobody is that. Like, you're not going to attract people. But when I've come on and I've shared some like pretty raw things, the feedback that I've had from people has meant so much to me. And I touched on it. It really helped me through some of the hardest days. And I'm just so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for the community that I have created and I've attracted, and yeah, I love it. Bring it on.
Yeah,
And what was your other question though? That felt like that was part one, and part two there was another question, but
oh, please. That tells you where my brain is. I always feel like if I can do this, anyone can, because I have total
oh,
control.
totally. Totally, totally.
But I remember the day I met you, and it was, it left an impression. Okay. I met you at Ray Higdon's social media live conference that we both attended, and you were wearing a DMO shirt, and I did not know anything about this. So I was like, what is it? And you were so gracious, right? And you gave me all the information. You actually followed up with me, which I was not expecting. You said, hey, you know what, let's friend each other, and I'll send you like the scripts, the invitation, like, oh, you don't know enough about it, I'll share it with you. And that left such an impression. So that to me is like
Oh,
the person you are, is this giver. And I think when you're a giver, you have that abundant life, right? It's a mind of abundance, uh, becomes a life of abundance. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So that to me is what this industry really does represent, is people like you, connecting with people like me that didn't know really much about this. You know what I mean?
No, but come on, you're only telling half the story. Like, we're not, you were just so bubbly and so energetic, and that's it. Like, I think we just hit it off. And so
I love it.
that the thing what you've actually really hit on something there that is so important, because we go through this and we get coaching and all the rest of it. And whenever and this is such a big thing about what Ray teaches us as well, isn't it, that when we invest in something, we learn something, we pass it on. Like, I literally was maybe a couple of days ahead of you in terms of DMOs. We've been doing it for 2 weeks. It wasn't something that I was like, an expert in, or that I was really well versed in, but I had maybe a couple of weeks of experience, and I had a couple of things I could point to, and I can share that with you. But that is so much about what we do. We are not experts in a lot of things, but we just know a little bit enough to point somebody else to what they need to know, and they can decide if it's for them, if it's not. Like, it's not about being on this other stratosphere or whatever. It can even just be being one day ahead, but helping somebody else behind you come in and step into their potential and awesomeness. So
Yeah,
I love that.
that's such a great point, because really, I mean, our business is about duplication, right? When you keep it simple.
Yeah.
You just blew my mind, because I didn't even think about this, but you're right. You didn't have to be the expert. You had to point me to a tool. I went to the tool, I made a decision to be a part of that. And then I also learned, and then I've taught others. So it's like, that's the duplication of the industry. That's a little different than, let's say, corporate America, right? I think
Yeah.
in America, a lot of times we tend to be out for ourselves,
Yeah.
next promotion and all that kind of stuff. Where here, if you're not helping others, you're definitely not growing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I
So
love that.
true.
What would you tell, I have like a couple of questions that I just really want to get out. It's like, what would you tell someone who's considering the industry? I think a lot of times people have felt a couple of things. One, I've tried it before and failed, and therefore I can't do it. Right. Or, it's just got a negative connotation. It's a bad, we think of it as all kinds of, I don't know, negativity. But really, what would you say to somebody who's like, I don't know enough to know enough. I'm thinking about it. I've heard this. I've been exposed. I'm, all those thoughts that come into our minds when we're like, do we try something new?
Yes. Yeah, and I think this actually touches on something that you'd asked earlier on and I forgot to get to. But I think you have to be 100% sold on what it is that you're talking about. Whatever your product is, or I mean, some people prefer to lead with the business. If that's what you want to talk about, then you have to be 100% sold on it's something that is helping other people. It's not about, I really try to take myself out of it. It's really about, like, other people, so many people out there are searching and praying for something to help them with whatever their problem is, whether it's, For me, for a long time, it was losing weight. It was like a lack of confidence and all sorts of things like that. But even things like lack of energy, or people wanting to switch their cleaning supplies and their personal care items from like sort of traditional ones to non-toxic or whatever. What people are so looking for different solutions, and then when you have a solution that you so much believe in, then I feel like it's my duty to share with people, because it's going to help them. Like, so many people need help in all many different facets, and then if I have something to help them, then I'm going to share it. Like, there is zero expectation that anyone purchases anything or whatever, but if somebody is looking for something and I have a solution, I'm absolutely gonna make a suggestion. So that's one thing. And then it ties into something you'd asked earlier on about, like, why you switch and whatever. And for me, that was it. I wasn't there were a few things that didn't necessarily jive before, and I didn't feel as comfortable as I feel now. So I feel very, very much at home in what I'm doing now. And then there was one other point that I thought I would mention. Oh, just about like, what would I tell somebody if they were thinking about it? Especially if it's somebody that has never tried it before, just go for it. Just try it, because you will never know, and you'll always watch from the sidelines and you'll wonder, oh, I wonder if I could do that. Just try it, because you never know. And I think for anyone that has tried it before and then wasn't successful, then ask yourself some tough questions, like, why do you think that was? Like, were you consistent? Were you coachable? Like, did people give you ideas as to what to do, who to reach out to, how to do it? And did you actually do it? Or, and I see this a lot, I see this being, and don't get me wrong, I was this person. I fully put my hand up. I was not coachable in the beginning, and I cared too much about how I was being perceived. I honestly was like undercover network marketer, because I was like, I'm just over here doing this thing. I really don't want people to know what I'm doing. Like, I didn't want people that I knew to know what I was doing. Right. And so I was fine to reach out to people I didn't know. That was fine. But like, I had a harder time sharing it with the people that knew me already, because I was like, well, they just won't understand. And you know what, the thing is, now I'm able to talk about it so passionately, and I think people see that I'm so fired up by it, that they're like, that's, and that's the thing, we're not here to convince anybody, like, really not. And yeah, I just think, ask yourself the tough questions as to maybe why it didn't work out. Were you not sold on the product? Were you more concerned, like, you didn't want to, you cared more about maybe how you were being perceived than the fact that you could be helping people? So, and I definitely, that was me. I was, I was very, very kind of hesitant to put it out there.
I was like this when I was first approached. I've been all of those things. And I absolutely agree. I think too, it's funny, the kind of this idea of, a lot of people go to college and they'll spend hundreds and thousands of dollars to get a 4-year education or an 8-year education to get to a career where they potentially make money. Right. And then pay off debt for a long, long time. And yet they'll come into an industry like ours, and then they'll work for like 5 months and go, I don't understand, I'm not rich. Right? It's like, forget the fact that there's a new business that you're starting, that you're creating a customer base, you're educating people on products, or you're helping other people. Like, forget all of that. And hey, I've been doing this for 6 months and I'm not rich, therefore, I quit. And so I think a lot of people tend to quit before they hit their potential, right?
Yeah.
When you're in school, there is, it can happen. It's like quitting your freshman year in college and saying, oops, you know what? This degree is too hard. It's one of the things that, I kind of feel like I have heard over and over. And I have felt myself, right? But wait a minute, I've been doing this for 6 months. There's my $1 million. And so that learning, there's a learning experience. I feel like from a personal development, I've grown so much from confidence I've grown. So I, you know, 2 years ago, I wouldn't even be doing this interview in this live. That to me is another win.
Yeah.
So, okay, last but not least, because I don't want to keep you long. I could talk to you forever. I really could.
I know. I could talk to you too. I feel like I want to ask you some questions. Anyway, go on.
Okay, but the last thing
we'll have to redo this at the end.
Yeah, tell us about your Grant Cardone and your plan to win. Tell us how you got there, what you're doing, where you're going for. I want to learn.
Oh, well, this honestly blows my mind. And so I found out about the Grant Cardone tickets first of all, and basically in order to win, so I was taking part in an extra sort of coaching group, which was so phenomenal. It was so awesome. And there was a particular training in there from Elsa Morgan, who's just awesome. And she was sharing that people that join a network marketing business, they are like a deck of cards. I'll try and keep this really short. They're like a deck of cards. Numbers 2 to 8, they join and they don't do anything. And then some of the other numbers, you know, they do a little bit, and maybe they order products, and maybe you know, some of the higher numbers like a king and an ace, you know, they're your kind of like team builders, and every now and again you get a joker, and they sort of, you know, they're like big runners, and they're going to be you know, psychotic in their efforts and whatever, and they're going to be, you know, they're the future $1 million earners and all the rest of it. And so when I was like getting that training, I was like, yeah, but the odd, like that's you know, I felt personally responsible for numbers 2 to 8 that joined and didn't do anything, because I was like, but they wanted to earn this extra income. They said they did, so why didn't they? Like they didn't do anything. They didn't do a post. They just, you know, they joined one day and they ghosted me the next. Like, this is very odd. Like, why does this happen? And anyway, basically it's just the law of the way things go. Like 80% of people in any organization don't have a massive desire level. I mean, even in corporate jobs, the number of people that just go and they do their job and they're happy with that, but they've got no desire to go further. They've got no, you know, real desire for that. And that's okay. We don't, like, you know, we don't say to the the people in our teams, they're like, well, hey, you know, shouldn't you be, you know, a manager by now, or shouldn't you do this? No, because people have different desire levels. Anyway, so I went through this training and I thought, wow, but like, you know, I felt personally responsible, even although I really shouldn't have. And it was through that training. And then also there's the analogy with the gym, that if I was the gym owner and somebody joined me and I say, and they were after 6-pack abs, say for example, and I say, well, hey, you know, you would need to do this and this and this and whatever. And if they never show up to the gym, then that's not my responsibility. So in network marketing, I'm like the gym owner. And if people want to do it and they want to earn the income, then I can show them how. And it's very simple. Not easy, but it's simple. But if they don't show up, like they don't show up to the gym, then that's fine. That just means that they don't have the desire level for it. Like they don't have the desire. I don't have the desire level for 6-pack abs because I'm not, you know, going into the gym or like doing planks every morning. But anyway, so I kind of digressed there. But the point is that was such a big shift in my mindset at that point. I felt such a release. And so I shared a video about that transition and the growth I got from it. And then I also shared about why I wanted to win the tickets. And lo and behold, they liked my video and they picked me. So here we go. I fly out on Thursday. These tickets are unbelievable. They are the diamond level tickets. Not only am I like sitting in the front row, I get to meet all of the speakers. I go for lunch every day with the speakers. There's things organized in the evening. We're going to get picked up and go off site somewhere with all of, and these speakers. So in addition to Grant Cardone, there is Magic Johnson, there's Kevin Hart, there's our mentor, Ray Higdon, and there's just, it's going to be so phenomenal to be there and just soak it all up. And I remember going to Rank Makers Live and just having I really believe in setting your intentions. And so I'm going to do this, like on the way there, I'm going to be writing, what do I want to get out of this? And I am just going to go for it.
Well, I know what I want to get out of this. I want you to come back and share everything you learned with us.
Absolutely, of course, yes. I'll be sharing even day one when I'm there. I'll be sharing my main takeaways, and then yeah, like it's just nuts. It's going to be a totally life-changing experience. And then from there, I fly direct from Vegas to Florida, where I will be shooting a reality TV show, which I also cannot believe that this is happening. But same thing, I entered a video and they said they liked my energy, and so here we are. Like, I'll be playing to win.
I first of all, I just want to thank you for taking the time. I mean, like I said, we could talk forever. I wanted to just kind of give my audience, you know, I think a lot of times people think, like, they see me and they see like that I'm energetic, I have energy, and they think that like I have all this, like, I don't know, this is my whole life. And I'm like, no, I'm a recluse, you know. It takes me out of my comfort zone, but you know, people don't see that, to your point with the Facebook reels, right? And so a lot of times people think I can't do what you do, but it's not the reality. And I love the fact that, you know, you came from a world where you're, you know, doing patent, what does it say, patent attorney, like
Patent attorney, yeah.
You know, to saying like, you know what, I'm gonna go for this. I love your background. I love everything about you. And I am so proud of you. And
thank you.
Literally so excited that we are side sisters. We're on the teams together. This is the culture that we have. And I love everything about you. I can't wait to see you there. And I'm really excited that we became friends.
Yes, me too. The feeling is very mutual, and I just think that you are such a breath of fresh air. Like, I think you are seriously one of the funniest people. The things that you share in our team group, and that's the thing. Like, that's the part that people don't see, is the friendships that we build, and the connections that we have, and just how much fun do we have. Like, I have, like, that is my personality type. Like, if I, you know, if it's a choice between fun or work, like, I want my work to be fun. And so the fact that it is a big bonus, and you're a big part of that. So thank you so much.
Hugs. You'll have to tell me all about it when you come back.
Yes, I will speak to you soon. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.